Kalen DeBoer is prioritizing offensive line and defensive backs in the transfer portal. Offense versus defense in this year's 8A game format, and it's still steak for the winners and beans for the losers. A couple of big-time prospects on Alabama's radar. And how about Greedy Vance of Florida State in the transfer portal? Could he be coming to Tuscaloosa? We got an eye on him. We need some guys in that secondary. We're going to get into all that right here on the Bama Tailgate YouTube channel. Like and subscribe. Give us a thumbs up. Hit the bell. And for our good friend Roll Tide Willie, I'm going to say Roll Tide right now. All right, Roll Tide, everybody. There he is, big, sexy Elmo from WJLX in Jasper, Alabama. I'm at Broadcaster Mick on the socials, Mick Gillispie. Great to have all of you guys here as we talk Alabama football and we get ready for the 8A game, which is tomorrow. Got a lot of news and notes heading into the game, and it's great to see you, my friend. Are you ready for Alabama to go in that transfer portal after the game and find some big-time targets?
Who we going to snatch? That's the main question. Who's going to come in? And one of the big headlines from yesterday is Greedy Vance Jr. Of course, we've talked about the defensive backs and kind of iffy there maybe, and just so happens, a guy from Florida State that's a defensive back has a year of eligibility left, and he's hitting the portal. Could he be making the trek up north to Tuscaloosa?
Yeah.
That's the million-dollar question.
Well, it's going to be interesting because we've got the 8A game tomorrow, right? And then Monday, that transfer portal opens. And who's leaving, if anyone, and who's coming in? I mean, that's interesting, right?
Yeah.
And the fact that Kalen DeBoer says offensive line, you know that Caden Proctor says he's coming back home. Yeah, Iowa was where he's from, but Alabama's his football home. He's coming back, so that'll help you on the offensive line. And that puts that offensive line in a spot where you're like, if this guy really comes back, now all of a sudden you got a pretty damn good O-line. Yeah. Now you got to add to that secondary that was gutted in the transfer portal before really DeBoer had a chance to meet those players.
Yeah, and what a guy to do it like a Greedy Vance. I mean, he's a good player with a year left. And he could come in and really solidify that group, or at least shore it up a little bit, while these younger guys go through some growing pains, which they will go through some growing pains. And the schedule is a tough one. We all know that. I think the early line yesterday opened up for the Alabama-Georgia game, and Bama's an underdog in that one, So, and of course we figured that, but we'll see that a lot. And these guys they've got some growing up to do, and it all culminates tomorrow with the 8A game. Let's see how far they've come here in the spring.
Yeah. Big bad Georgia. Weren't they favored in the SEC championship game?
Yeah. They were favored in that championship game. And I forgot what happened, but I think it was,
Georgia's lucky that Alabama didn't play them the season before that, too.
Yeah.
And I kept saying that, and you guys that know me on my different shows know that. I never, ever was surprised by Alabama beating Georgia. I'm just disappointed that Alabama didn't make the playoff 2 years ago, because it wouldn't have been Georgia against TCU if Alabama had played them. But you know what? Let's be an underdog again, and let's figure it out.
We'll take it.
Offensive line wise, you got, when you add Proctor back to the mix, Jaden Roberts, Tyler Booker, you keep hearing about James Brockermeyer, and then Kalen DeBoer talked about Parker Brailsford, who he says is staying. We're not going to see him in the game, but he gave us an update on that.
Yeah, he talked about Brailsford. He said he'll be with us sooner than later. And he won't be participating in the spring game, but he's been showing up to workouts and been doing some things, and he'll be back with the team at full strength, but he felt like it just wouldn't be fair to him, really, because he's missed out on so much of the spring stuff.
Yeah, right. Well, let's talk about the 8A game format. 3 o'clock Saturday, Bryant-Denny Stadium. You guys need to be there. We need to pack the place out. We need to show DeBoer the same love and respect and excitement that Nick Saban got when he took over the program. This is a coach that, just like Nick Saban, is at the top of his game. He's coming to Tuscaloosa. We need to make sure that we let him know how happy we are to have him, his style of offense. And I don't even think that it even goes without saying. I think you guys are all on the same page. But this year's format's going to be a little bit different. Offense versus defense. I think he wants to keep the units together just so he gets a better idea of what he's got.
Yeah, he's looking at this as basically like the 15th practice. I mean, and see what we've got. And you're right. There's no reason why you shouldn't show up, because all the weather forecasts say sunny and 81. It's going to be beautiful. It's going to be a beautiful day. And we've already talked about all the activities going on throughout the entire weekend. So load up the family and head out to Bryant-Denny, head out to Tuscaloosa and enjoy it. And looking forward to the 8A game and see who eats the steak and steak or beans
or beanie weenies. Isn't that what he said?
Yeah, I was wondering if it was the beanie weenies.
You don't get the weenies in there, just the beanies.
Oh, wow.
When you think about like the intensity, I talked to Jake Coker about this on the Elephant in the Room podcast. He said, "Hey, what was it like? Did you guys really care about winning?" And he was like, "Yeah." And when I ate steak, you want to eat steak. So it's going to be even more intense, because the guys eating steak could be the offense or could be the defense, and the guys eating beans could be the offense or could be the defense. Those units stick together in a real game. That makes this more interesting to me.
Normally in the spring, you're going to see your defense probably ahead of the offense a little bit. Yeah. Who do you give the edge to?
Well, see, I think it's the offense, just because you got Milroe coming back. You got this running back room that has Jam Miller, and it also has Justice Haynes. The wide receivers. We talked about these guys. I think that the wide receiver room is going to get a lot better. Once we get the freshmen there, obviously having Hollywood Williams on the team and some of these other guys, but tight ends. I like the tight ends, Dupree and Oots. The offensive line looks pretty good. So I feel like the defense has a lot more question marks. You got some guys that can get after the quarterback, but you don't have Dallas Turner anymore, right? You don't have Terrion Arnold, and we're going to talk about those guys coming up here in a second. I just feel like experience-wise, Jalen Milroe and this offense, and then the way that we've heard the quarterbacks have performed this spring, I would say that they probably have the edge to me.
Yeah. You're probably right. No, I was sitting here thinking, wouldn't it be funny if the first play from the game from scrimmage, the center snaps the ball over the quarterback's head, and then they go like, "Just kidding, everybody."
They just did it just to scare everybody.
Just to do it. It's like, it's just a big joke,
Like everybody just turned around and laughed and then did a big
O. Yeah.
I like where your brain is. Though.
Right. I mean, boy, wouldn't that be something? But anyway, but yeah, steak versus beans. They take it seriously. The tradition continues.
You went to Butterbean's restaurant, the former boxer. Saw the Butterbean and an amazing comeback on the Diamond Dallas Page's yoga, DDP yoga, and you went there yesterday in honor of this game for dinner.
Yeah, and had steak, hamburger steak. I didn't go with the steak this time.
Is hamburger steak more affordable, or I mean, is it just
no, it was just it was the hankering, it was the mood.
Gravy? Do you put gravy on that?
Gravy and onions.
Okay. Ketchup?
Yeah. No.
Salt and
not
pepper.
Not with the gravy and onions. No.
Salt and pepper?
Salt and pepper. Do you put ketchup on the gravy and onions?
I put ketchup on everything. Do you do Did you have mashed taters?
No, salad and fries.
Okay,
Salad
just
and fries.
asking. So you had French fried taters.
I had French fried taters, and they
Mhm.
were good. But yeah, Butterbean has a restaurant here in Jasper, and it's pretty good.
I like butter.
That's where I went for dinner last night. And next time you're in town, we're going to go there and have a steak, and hopefully catch up with Bean himself.
I want to do a beer show with Bean and the
Yeah, well,
Butterbean beer that he did with the what is it called? Straight to Ale.
I can't. I
I
can't
think that's
remember.
the Huntsville Brewery. That
Yeah,
does the Monkey Nut. Yeah. All right. Final thing, Alabama related, and then we're going to talk about some big time recruits. And this is last year's guys that could come back, but they decided to go to the NFL draft. I don't blame them. These three guys have decided to go to the draft in person, which means that they all feel like they're going to be drafted relatively high, right? You don't go if you're not going to be in the first round. And I think that each of these guys has a really good reason to show up. So Terrion Arnold, who I feel like is one of my favorite personalities that Alabama's had ever. Love him. J.C. Latham, offensive lineman. I could see him going early in the draft. And then Dallas Turner, who is a beast.
Yeah. I mean, those three guys are going with the intent of not just sitting around in the in the green room or out in the crowd or wherever they sit for a very long time. So yeah, they believe they're going to, Dallas Turner. A lot of people have him picked to go 8th to the Falcons. So he's a guy. Latham is a guy that's projected to go right outside the top 10, and Arnold is expected to go soon after. All three guys are probably going to be top 15 picks.
What you talking about, Willis?
I think all three guys will be top 15 picks.
Okay. Just throwing that out there. Do you remember Willis?
I love that, Willis. Yeah.
Yeah.
What you talking about, Willis? Yeah.
One of the best
at least
shows
they're
of all
projected. Yeah, one of the best of all time. But yeah, I mean, a lot of people have them all three going in the top 15, so you might as well be there to go ahead and get that. You know how they do the jerseys so fast? They have the little they have the little iron thing there in the back.
Yeah. Here you
how
go.
would you like to be in charge of that?
And you got to have a hat that just doesn't really fit right,
Right, yeah.
Like
yeah, and then they're holding the jersey, and then it doesn't matter how goofy you look.
Yeah, it's a little too small for my head. Like it's like they always get a hat that's too small or very stiff.
Yeah, but they've just hit the lottery, in other words, and they don't care what kind of hat they have on their head.
No, they're doing good. All right, Dijon Lee, cornerback, 4-star, Mission Viejo, California.
This is some of this butterbean sweet tea.
It's delicious. It's got you hyped up right now. Yeah. Not once, but twice he's coming to Tuscaloosa on a visit.
Must really like that because those trips get expensive if you're coming from Mission Viejo, California.
Viejo. Mission Viejo. Yeah, when he came to town last time in March, they put him with Damani Jackson, Zabion Brown. They're like, hey, here's your other California guys, right? We're going to show you some California love. I think it's between us and Georgia. He's going to their spring game. This is a guy that we really want, right? We need cornerback help a lot. And he's coming back again. So this is a tight race.
This is a tight race. And I think he developed a relationship with DeBoer while he was at Washington.
And Courtney Morgan, too.
Yeah. So 6'3.5", 180 pounds, coming from Mission Viejo, not to be confused with Pendejo. And just a little Spanish lesson right there, Mick. He's supposed to be one of the longest corners in the country.
Really?
Yeah, at 6'4", 190. And a lot of people love this guy because he will absolutely smother you. He's really good. Obviously, he's in some services he's a 5-star, and some he's a 4. But he rarely gets beaten over the top.
Nice.
This guy gets his hands up, and he's got his hands on the football all the time. I mean, he's knocking stuff down. He'll lay a big hit on a running back. He's not scared. This guy's ready to come play football, hopefully at the University of Alabama.
And finally, Lotzeir Brooks, Millville, New Jersey, 4-star in sub publications, 3 in others. But this is a guy, forget about the stars, that this staff loves, and they would really appreciate this guy if he committed to Alabama. They'd love him even more.
Yeah, 5'9", 170 pounds. A lot of people already, looks like he's coming to Alabama. A lot of people think he's definitely coming. But he's the size guy that's going to put him in the slot most of the time, and very quick. He impacts all 3 phases of the game. He tied this past year. He tied the New Jersey single season receiving touchdown record as a junior with 22 touchdowns.
Wow, that's great.
So good stuff. As the Tide offered him yesterday, I guess, and we will see what happens. But I like his chances of coming.
Yeah. And I love the fact that these guys don't care what the recruiting services say. They're going to pick the guys that they feel like work for their system. He kind of reminds me of Bernard, who they brought with them from Washington. Obviously, a lot of speed. You mentioned slot. Maybe he's a guy that can run the ball as well in certain formations. But, we'll see how it turns out. And it's exciting, man. I mean, tomorrow we actually have a football game. And, Brett, you and I will be on here, chewing the fat with everyone that wants to talk about it. I probably think that we should probably some point in the second half, maybe like the fourth quarter, we'll just get on and start the show and watch the end of the game or whatever, because a lot of times it's that part of it goes pretty fast, and it's not guys that really are gonna.
Yeah, it's not we'll kind of wrap it up.
Yeah. Show's brought to you by Pearl River Resort over in Philadelphia, Mississippi, celebrating 30 years over there. We're going to hang out there. Brett and I, we got to go to see Boys to Men there for Brett's birthday in July. They'll be there July the 3rd. You've got Big and Rich with Gretchen Wilson. You've got Brian McKnight. It's just a lot of great acts as we celebrate 30 years of Golden Moon Casino and the Silver Star. You got Dancing Rabbit as everyone watches the Masters and you want to get those clubs out. It's the Augusta that you can play. You got table games and slots, the Timeout Sports Book, 20 big screen TVs with all the games. You can bet on pretty much anything, Vegas style, right there in Philadelphia, Mississippi. And on top of that, it's just a fun place to hang out, take the guys, and it's not going to break the bank either. I mean, You don't have to fly cross country to go hang out. An hour and a half from Tuscaloosa, 2 hours from Birmingham, and pretty close to anywhere in the state. Then there's the Brett Elmore Show.
That's right. Weekday morning, 6 till 10. Join me. WJLX 1015 FM and then WJLX1015.com. All the streaming services. Check it out. 6 till 10 Central Time. Look forward to seeing you.
I heard you telling a story today, News of the Weird. You do that on there, News of the Weird.
Mm-hmm. I love good, weird news stories. And let me tell you, like I say on the show, I've been doing radio a long time, and News of the Weird has kind of been my thing. And the weirdest news stories always come out of Florida.
Florida man.
Yeah, always come out of Florida.
You think it's jorts and Crocs and wife beaters?
Yeah, probably so.
I thought so.
Yeah, jorts. Yeah, do you own a good pair of jorts?
I've never had a pair ever. I don't think.
Really?
I don't. I mean, not to say if anybody has them, I'm not judging. I just never have had them.
Right. Okay.
You have them?
No. No, I don't have any jorts. I would like to get some of those overalls that are also shorts.
Yeah, I like those too. You think Roll Tide Willie has any of those?
I bet you that guy's got a lot of jorts.
Yeah, pretty. Yeah. I know he's your buddy. All right, look, one other thing I want to bring up right here, guys, is with the promo code Bama Tailgate, you can have this, and I think this is just an absolutely beautiful print. 4th and 31, Daniel Moore, newlifeart.com. Look at that. I mean, even if that guy's at Texas this year, he's never going to have a bigger moment in his career than that right there. And Jalen Milroe being able to stand in the pocket, throw the perfect pass, and stun Auburn. All their fans were ready to run out on the field, and then the next thing you know, they were crying. 43 seconds left to go in the game, and it led Bama to a 23-20 win. Nick Saban's final game, final Iron Bowl, rather, final regular season SEC game, and he goes out like that. Couldn't be any better. Brett's putting one in his studio. I think I got to find spot for one in here. I love the color contrast and everything. 15% off when you use the promo code Bama Tailgate at newlifeart.com. And all of you guys that have used the promo codes that we've thrown out there, hey, man, thank you. And I mean this. Thank you so much. And roll tide, everybody. Pimp out your man cave. And that does it for us today. And tomorrow we'll do something in the morning. And
game day.
And then we'll have a game day, everybody.
Game
so
day.
Roll tide. Roll tide.
Roll tide.